Hey guys, welcome to another episode here with me, Jose Najarro. Take a quick look at the market, and like always guys, feel free to post anything on the comments if you guys want me to take a look at any stocks, or if you guys have any questions about investments. Remember, this is not advice, as I am not a professional, but we can definitely take it's been a pretty interesting market so far, right? I've seen a few things trending. We'll take a look at that. Let me just open up my portfolio real quick to see what's really happening. Actually, I see more red. Let's switch screen here. So I think that should be good. You guys should be able to see, yep, what I see. So first, actually, let's start off with the overall market. So right now, Dow is up about 0.3%. NASDAQ is down about 0.2%. The S&P is pretty much flat for the day. So there's not much movement. Sorry guys, I think I buzzed out there for a second. Let me just make sure I'm back to normal. It was pretty weird. I think that ad that I got hit with in Finvis, yep, seems to be that I'm back to normal. And guys, while you're here, make sure to hit the thumbs up, and helps a lot with the overall channel. So let's go back. AMD is up 4% today. This is actually pretty cool. I wonder if there's any recent news, or is it just the news from yesterday? Yeah, it seems like it's just news from yesterday. I did the video later. I did two videos on AMD yesterday. We saw that the UK regulators kind of approved that acquisition. I think now the only one that needs to be approved by is the China regulators, which is probably, in my opinion, going to be the toughest one. And I think that's also going to be the toughest one for Nvidia. So we can see stock price is up a nice amount, 4%. And this is one I have been talking about recently, right? Both AMD and Nvidia are ones I enjoy. But I do believe AMD was kind of quiet for some time. Unfortunately, though, right now it does seem like it's just moving too much, too fast. What's going on, TikTok? So it doesn't mean there is a chance there is going to be a pullback. I just believe the risk of it happening is a lot higher, right? It's definitely becoming a bit overextended. But like I mentioned, right, this is one that has been quiet for multiple months. What's going on, DDAA? How's it going? What's going on, ACG? And remember guys, if you guys want me to take a look at any stocks, feel free. I'm just taking a quick look at what's happening with AMD. So we can see DTA. Okay, question, what is the best stock right now? So hey, I feel late, David. I just got in, so it's not too late for either. So how's it going, David? So DDAA. I just want to say right there, I don't know if there's a perfect stock or a best stock right now, right? It all depends on your investment style. I'm a long-term investor. Right now, we do see a lot of stocks to invest $1. I mean, especially, are you here in the United States? In the United States, you have fractional shares, and you have free trading. So even with the dollar, you can invest in big companies that you want to invest in, like Amazon, Microsoft, Google. I think if you're starting off, not suggestions, but normally starting off, the best ones are usually ETFs. So the S&P 500, which would be the SPY, the QQs, which is mainly tech-based, and that's QQQ. So I think starting off, it's better to you started with $1 yesterday and now have $27.06. You are killing it, DDA. By the way, I appreciate the support. The comments really do help with YouTube algorithm. So you're amazing, man. So David Becker, pretty good hope here. You are feeling better. Yep, I'm feeling a lot better, David. I appreciate the support. DDI, start with an area you and go from there. My 2 cents. So David, are you taking a look at any stocks right now? AMD is killing it, right? Up 4.35% now. I did do a video on this yesterday. We talked about it for sure. So it's definitely pretty interesting. But like I mentioned, I do think the semiconductor industry right now, if we take a look at SMH, this is the semiconductor ETF. It has finally broken out of this top level. Again, I don't really look at technicals too fondly, but it's definitely something I understand to some extent and want to keep an eye out. So now I just want to see, is this a new break level? Are we going to start seeing new breaks on, are we seeing new breakouts on semiconductors? We are definitely seeing them a lot with Nvidia, for example. Now with AMD, they are breaking out. Still, for example, AMD is still lower than its all-time highs, but I'm still having still risk of it being pulled down is higher, but I'm having a good feeling on the semiconductor market as a long-term investor. Have had a lot of alerts today for lows on my watch list. What are some of those, David? I know a lot of stocks are on my portfolio are red. I want to say majority are red. My big players are green. We have AMD is up 4.5%. We talked about that already. Tattoo Chef is actually up 3.4%. Any recent news on Tattoo Chef right now? So Tattoo Chef, here we go. And actually, I'm just gonna let's see, hide user. I'm just gonna put user on timeout. Let's see. Tattoo Chef is up 3.3%. Has there been any recent news for Tattoo Chef? I kind of saw something on StockTwits that kind of showed that, hey, they're kind of moving into Kroger, the big franchise, retail franchise, but I don't know if that was actually introduced. Tattoo Chef will ink your greens in celebration of National Tattoo Day. Lucky fans. Okay, so there hasn't really been any news that I can see right now. Good morning, Q. How's it going, man? Hope you are having a good day. Tattoo Chef up 3%. Have to trying to find out why, Q. Did you find out any recent news? Tattoo Chef significantly or lower. This is just overall technicals. So sometimes I hate these websites. They're just looking at technicals. No, it was not unofficial news. Rinko, I don't know. He was just I don't know. It's because Rinko. No, it was not official news. Yes. So Q, what happened? If you may be updated on TTCF. Microsoft and watching Airbnb bouncing all over. Airbnb is one I have not I haven't really added into my portfolio, but it's definitely one that seems interesting for sure. It's definitely seen quite a pullback. Right, David Becker is down 31.7% from its 52-week high. The stock is definitely killing it though, right? So what else do we have? Let's see what's happening in the market right now. Give me 5 things to know before the stock market opens on Wednesday. We saw it did open already. Wall Street set to close the first half of 2021. Right, second quarter. I do believe the last day is today. Yep, June 30th. Today is the last day of the second quarter. So we are gonna start seeing earnings in the next few weeks upcoming. So that's great news. Bed Bath and Beyond earnings take a hit from turnaround. I saw BBY is up almost 30% though, right? 3 companies are set to make their public debuts. We're going to take a look at that. ADP issues strong June private sector's job report. That's amazing. So let's see, what are the 3 companies that are going to go? So DD Global is set to begin trading on Wednesday. That gives China-based ride-hailing. So this is a ride-hailing company. It's actually pretty impressive. I did not know there were so many new companies coming today. So DD, if you're looking for a ride-hailing company in China, is starting today. We have a digital ad company, Tabula, is set to begin trading today as well on the NASDAQ following a merger with, what's a SPAC merger? And then we have Clear, number 19 on CNBC's Disruptors 500 list this year, is set to begin trading. What do? They are Clear now is known for its frequent flyer identification services, launched HealthPath during the COVID pandemic. Clear seems pretty interesting for sure. This is one. Are any of you guys familiar with any of these 3 stocks? Based on the stocks, on the news that I heard yesterday, Tattoo Chef options moved 100 times higher volume than usual. So even someone knew something or some big money covered their short position. Okay, so it just seems to be more technical based, and just big money moving around, opposed to at the moment, right? At the moment, either big money knows something that we don't know yet, or it's just big money moving. I got in on Tabula with IACA. That was the SPAC. I mean, yep. Okay. Pretty cool, David. Polly, what's going on? Jared, Jared, has it been you? I think you have been talking about BBBY or Bed Bath and Beyond for the past week or so, right, Jared? Normally, that's not my investment style or how I like to put my money. Nothing against it, but congratulations on it. I think you're the one who has been, I think, on every stream we've done and almost on every comments you have been posting about it. So congratulations. Um, Angus, what's going on? How was your meeting yesterday? It was good. A lot of great information. It was actually a lot longer. I was only expecting to have like a 30-40 minute discussion with Decade Investor. Because and it turned out to go a lot longer, so now it's taking a lot longer to do my editing on it, just to cut out a lot of the white spaces to make it a little bit more enjoyable for you guys. But a lot of great information there. So definitely that should be coming up hopefully in the next few days, Angus, and it was definitely a good one. I already have scheduled another interview for not this upcoming week, but next week, the week after. I think it's Saturday, July 10th. I have another meeting with another investor. This one focuses mainly on semiconductors. So it's definitely going to be another interesting meeting for me. And hopefully I can brings a lot of information to you guys, Angus. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy these. I'm reaching out to other investors. If you guys have any investors you guys want to learn a little bit more about, you guys want me to do an interview, or just want to see a nice collaboration with, feel free to post their names on comments. Hit me up on Twitter and be like, Jose, it'll be cool if you kind of interview and see the investment process of this person. Obviously, we have to be realistic. Right now, with my fan base, I can probably get a good amount of people, but I can't really get those top people at the moment. But eventually, that is going to be the goal, right? We're gonna get some big names here. But regardless, we still are getting big ones. AMD, Julie, for sure. That's up bigly, man. It's been doing amazing. I doing good. Right, it's up 4.6%. One I've definitely enjoy. My portfolio is happy. Nvidia, right? Nvidia hasn't. It's pretty much quiet right now. Hasn't really done anything. It's up. It's pretty much flatlined for the day. Down 0.22%. So QNXGYWF. What is that one, if I may? Just Q, if you can give me a quick breakdown on that stock. Let's just take a quick look. Do you own any agriculture stocks? No, ACG, I don't. It's not that I'm not in. It's not that I find that market. Q, appreciate it. Who agree, man? Who is bigger than me? My time will come. So ACG, I don't own, but it's not because I'm bearish on the market, right? I can see the huge potential in agriculture, especially with like drones, satellite companies that kind of deal with them, GPS type of companies. So I see there's big tech in that market. Maybe those are the ways I might start to invest in the overall agriculture market, ACG. But overall, right now, I don't believe I have any place in that market. Do you have any recommendations or just any suggestions, ACG, within that market? So Julie, Nvidia has been outperforming AMD this year. Usually AMD is the #1 performer for the last couple of years. I do think, right, AMD has definitely been a strong performer in the past year. But I do think AMD had a lot to gain. AMD still has a lot to gain in form of market shares. We saw yesterday in the top 500, right, Julia? AMD is just killing it with it. And guys, while we're here, make sure to hit the thumbs up. It really does help with the overall channel and just the overall algorithm. If there's one way to support the channel, the thumbs up is more than enough. So Julie, right? But I think Nvidia right now. Nvidia right now is just really expanding its market, right? It's hitting everything. It's that the ARM acquisition, even though I do believe that ARM acquisition is still, I want to say, I believe it's not gonna happen. I have more. I believe it has a higher chance of not happening than happening. It still could happen, but I believe the risk of it not happening is higher. Um, so but Nvidia, I do believe, has great stuff for investors right now. So I'm very bullish on both AMD and Nvidia for long terms. So yeah, so many future computer. I gave you a like on this video and last video. I appreciate Dewey. Did you watch it last week? How they yesterday's episode on? I'm pretty sure I think I saw your comments. How AMD just gained market shares on supercomputers list. They went from like 21 to 49 in just 6 months. Super impressive. AMD though, for sure, I don't see it. It's weird. I mean, I'm a huge bull in AMD, but I don't see their graphics card being a competition against Nvidia. I don't think AMD is there yet. I think they're definitely taking great market share on Intel in processors, but they're not near the levels of Nvidia in the graphics card. And yesterday's supercomputer list showed that, right? There's only one out of the 500 supercomputers that use AMD's graphics cards. There's about 130 something that use Nvidia's. So it just shows you how far ahead Nvidia is to AMD at the moment. So did you hear AMD is working on Samsung on phone graphics? Yes, I think they kind of mentioned that partnership for phone graphics on their higher end model phones. Which I thought is pretty good, and I bet AMD might get into ARM collapse more in the future. Yep, ARM. I mean, we see the number one supercomputer was powered by an ARM processor. That speaks levels, right? The number one supercomputer is powered by an ARM processor. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna start seeing Nvidia, Intel, AMD move out of that x86 platform and move into the ARM platform. Or not move completely, but start extending within that market. So Q, you wanna let's take a quick look at that one for sure. Quite like the look of Sanderson Farms, SAFM. For sure. So let's take a quick look at both those stocks. First, let's start off with fundamentals for let's see, Simply Wall Street. So let me just see if there's anything else in the market I want to take a look at. So we have AMD still up 4.5%. Fastly has been killing it too, right? Fastly is up 3%, up a nice amount from the bottom. It hit here around $40. We saw a nice amount of volume within that price. I definitely see that being a nice support level for the future. What we're gonna have to see is if it's gonna break out of this previous support, now resistance, which is going to be somewhere in the mid-low 60s. So that's something interesting to keep in mind for Fastly, but definitely a nice pull up after their earnings shutdown. So what else do we have? Anything else interesting right now? In the red, Space is down 7.5%. It's definitely taking a hit after that excitement. Fiverr is down 4.2%. We can see it was a bit overextended. Now it's time to pulling back. T-Doc is killing it again. C Limited is a bit overextended right now. So overall, things don't look too bad, even though they're on red. Jared, I don't know, Jared. Remove. Let's just remove that. So Braysha, is Ford a good investment? So I'm not one to say that, Braysha. Not a financial advisor, just like David Becker. Ford is definitely making moves. They're making strong moves in the overall market, especially the electric market. And it does seem like people are really excited about their products. Outside of the EV, right, the F-150, I believe it's one of the best-selling trucks out there. I'm not a truck guy. But right now, there has been a lot of excitement on this stock. I just want to say if in the long term of things, Ford definitely has the potential of doing pretty good. On the short term of things, this is a stock that could be very volatile. It is a bit overextended. Let's just take a look for Braysha. I think this is one of your first times here. Let me just take a quick look at Ford, right? Market cap $59.9 billion. Future growth. This company is expected to grow 8.4% on average for the next 2 to 5 years. They are profitable in earnings. They are positive in cash flow from operations. So that's fundamentally, they are looking pretty good. Unfortunately, I believe their financial health is not the best. They have a lot of debt compared to cash and short-term investments. So Ford overall, I want to say their biggest weakness right now is this balance sheet. They do have a nice amount of debt, but they probably have this debt because they own a lot of their manufacturing plants, a nice amount of probably retail places and stuff like that, the equipment. But regardless, that is a lot of debt. Only thing I want to say is scary about Ford and their fundamentals. Another thing is Ford and a lot of these car companies are being affected by the semiconductor shortage. I know Ford mentioned, and if you want to learn a little bit more about Ford, Bracia, they did kind of, I did do a video on them, so just put Jose Najarro on YouTube and Ford, and I did a video about 2 months ago. Fundamentally, they do seem pretty cool, and definitely, I don't see them going down anytime soon, in forms of going bankrupt, right? But the stock price can be volatile. Let's see, David Becker. I think the bailout years ago, they were the only ones that did not take money from the government. That's actually pretty impressive, David Becker. I'm not familiar. I know the overall automotive bailout a few years ago, but I don't think I was too interested in the automobile market to really take a look at. But that's interesting if they didn't. So, Julie, you probably did a video on this already, but could you probably cover your thoughts on the stocks that took a big hit due to COVID, like airline stock and cruise hotel stocks and cinema stocks? So just my quick thoughts on it, Julie. Those are stocks I'm not personally going to invest in. Not because they might have taken a big hit, but they also took a big hit on fundamentals, right? And they took a big hit on stock price. They also took a big hit on fundamentals. A lot of these stocks have kind of increased their overall debt compared to cash, and it had to burn a nice amount of cash. So fundamentally, they're not in a place that I would want to invest. In maybe form of price targets, and maybe they might be a bit undervalued in form of assets, then that might be different. But not a market I invest in, right? Cruise lines don't really interest me. Cinemas don't really interest me. Airlines don't really interest me as an investor. So I personally wouldn't invest in those stocks. It doesn't mean they're bad, just not my style of investment, Julie. Biz, hey Jose, what do you think of Dynatrace? We can take a quick look at those in a bit. Let me take a quick look at Q. He mentioned a nice cannabis stock. Good morning, Lisa. What are my thoughts on APPM? We'll take a quick look at all of them. And again, guys, remember these are just my thoughts and nowhere near advice. And if you guys are here, make sure to hit that thumbs up, right? It helps so much with the channel. So Q, which one was it again? It was NXGWF. Is this Canadian? It's always Canadian with Q. Q, I feel, is one of the few people that I know that really invest in Canadian market. So first thing I can see, the market cap is 150 Canadian dollars. So super small market cap. What I am going to say is a company like this, investing is probably going to have low volumes. So investors should definitely be careful when buying a super small market cap. Use limit price purchasing. These are stocks that you don't want to put an open order. You want to do limit pricing. So we can see super small market cap. Another thing, this is probably something that's going to be very volatile. It's super new company, so I can't get too much information. It shows Q, but let's maybe take a look at past performance. Right now, the company is profitable in earnings. Their revenues also seem to be growing at crazy levels. Taking a look at trailing 12 months Q, they have $16 million in US dollars in revenue. Damn, how much is that in, I want to see what was their market cap. So 121 million. So they have a price to sales ratio of less than 10. That's actually pretty impressive. They are profitable in earnings and they are positive in cash flow from operations. So this is pretty impressive overall. Things are looking good for the company fundamentally, historically, right? We see super small market cap, profitable earnings, strong revenue growth, positive cash flow from operations. If we take a look at their financial health, they have about $7.2 million in cash and $2.8 million in debt. They don't have a bad balance sheet. In all honesty, I would have wished they had no debt at all, but they have plenty of cash to cover it. So fundamentally still looking pretty good. The final thing I want to take a look at is ownership. I just want to see, so the general public owns most of it, 78.2. institutions are not even touching this stock right now, which might be good news, right? Institutions, it might be one of those stocks where usually when institutions start to pick up, it really drives stock price. And right now, institutions hasn't even really moved. Individual insiders own 21.6. This guy, Michael Jennings, is the CEO and owns about 16% of the business and is the founder. So fundamentally, Q, this one looks pretty interesting. If we saw the price to sales ratio was below 10, they are profitable and they are positive in cash flow from operations. This does look pretty interesting if you are looking into the cannabis style business. Let's just take a quick look at their if we take a quick look at their stock price, just to see if it's been a little bit how's it booming. So right, very volatile. You can see it was overextended, just like many growth stocks probably earlier on. Nice pullback. I want to see it's not overextended right now, and it's sitting at a good volume area here at around 60 cents. Remember, this is definitely a small company. Very 0.66 cents. People would consider this a penny stock. Super small market cap. So something like this, if it was to ever enter my portfolio, it would be super small position. But even a super small position can end up with big gains. Let's see what else we got there. So feel free, guys, to let me know. I think next was ACG with SAFM. Do you want me to take a quick look at that one, ACG, if you are still here? If not, we'll take a look at Biz and Dynatrace. So Q, nice. This one is one I enjoyed a lot. Pretty cool. Fundamentally wise, right? For me, I'm just not into the cannabis business. Not for any negative or bearish, bullish reasons. Just not a market I follow to some extent, right? Angus, Jose, how do you think about the new ARK product, ARK 21 shares Bitcoin ETF? So I did see that they were gonna do. I haven't really read into it. I would say if I was really bullish in the overall crypto market, that's how I probably would invest in it. That ETF. I feel like they are ones that are really, excuse me, guys. They are really staying up to date with crypto and all that market. So ARK, I don't really buy too many ETFs. ARK would be one of the few ETFs I would buy for the geonomics and for that one. Once that Bitcoin ETF or crypto ETF opens up, it would be a pretty interesting one for sure. How do you invest? Weekly, monthly, or big investments every now and again? So ACG, for me, I invest weekly amounts, and that's pretty much, and it's a few hundred a week, right? And that's pretty much all I can afford. But even I think even a small investment right now, my portfolio luckily is at 6 figures, and that's just from doing small investments. It just shows you the power of small investments, and I do believe this allows me to not worry too much about valuations, ACG, because with doing weekly small investments, which is what I can only do, it kind of forces me to do dollar cost averaging. So dollar cost averaging allows me to kind of ignore valuation to some extent, because there are some weeks I might buy high, there are some weeks I might buy low, but regardless, I feel like I'm buying more on the low side than on the high side, because I have a good selection of stocks to pick out of. So weekly investments is my investment styles. There might be times, ACG, when I do no, so ACG, there are a matter of times. For example, during the COVID situation, I was putting more like thousands of dollars every time the market dropped few percentage, right? So on a weekly basis, if the market is just going up, I put a weekly allowance. I do have backup money, or what I call extra funds on cash. And if we ever, and I mean, it's a team with my wife and I, if we ever see a big drop in the market, we dip into there and go very, very heavy in the market. So that's what we tend to do. We did it pretty good during the COVID crash. A good portion of my funds into my account were during that time. So when I see markets like that, that's when I go harder and I invest bigger. There are also times when I might sell out. I have a good portion of positions. I might sell out of my stocks and use all those funds to buy one position. If I see something that is very, very undervalued, I might sell out of some positions and just go into one position. That pretty much happened with Nvidia. Nvidia, when it dropped to like $500 or so, I remember when I was looking at it, Nvidia, right, during this recent crash, right here, on March, when we saw a nice amount of growth stocks kind of taking a hit, during this 500, around here, Nvidia was only 1% of my portfolio, maybe even less. When I saw this correction, my overall market, my overall price value on Nvidia is about $480. So it's really much on this line right here. $480 is actually where it's at. So when I saw this, I sold out of a lot of my positions and went super heavy on Nvidia. And Nvidia became my number one position from being somewhere around my number 20 position size. So it all depends on how the market is doing, ACG. Normally during big drops, that's when I know it's time to go heavy. When the market is just like it is right now, just kind of trending up, I do my weekly investment. So it all depends on how I feel the market is doing. And that helps me out on, I think, provides such the great gains I have done in the past few years. So let's see what other stocks, guys. I know most of you guys kind of showed some stocks. Feel free to remind me again. I sometimes lose my train of thought when I go through those rambos. But I hope they are great information for you guys. Just to see, and I try to be as transparent as I can. And ACG, you would always see, if you are on my Discord channel, there is the overall account. I post every time I buy and every time I sell it. It's free for anybody that wants to take a look at there. And that's where I keep update. So, all right, David Becker, let's take a quick look at DGLY. So, Digital Ally. First thing I'm seeing overall fundamentally, technically, APN. All right, I won't forget. I'm gonna do all of them. So don't worry, guys. Taba, I'm taking a look at Rocket. Lisa, I'll take a look at APPN. So DGLY, Digital Ally, right now, nowhere near overextended. A lot of volume where it's at right now. Again, another small company for sure, right? One that was trending pretty high. That was pretty exciting earlier on. Kind of pulled back. Now, nowhere near extended. So let's take a quick look at their technicals. So this is DGLY. I just want to say though, a stock like that is going to tend to be very volatile, right? So those are ones that are going to be very volatile. And look, it's super small market cap, less than $100 million. You guys are really showing these small companies today. They produce and sell digital video imaging, storage, and disinfectant and related safety products for the use in law enforcement, security, and commercial applications in the United States. Pretty interesting for sure. I can definitely see this being, they do body cam stuff for officials, David Becker. Okay, makes sense. I can definitely see why investors were a bit excited. Obviously, unfortunately, with what's happening in around the world and stuff like that, right? You're kind of seeing products like this needed more often. Not much future growth on the company expected. There's not many analysts following it, but let's take a quick look at their historical performance. So the company, their revenue hasn't really changed, but their earnings are increasing dramatically. If we take a look though, their cash flow from operations are not looking that great either. The thing I want to say is be careful with these earnings because their cash flow hasn't really changed. These earnings here are gonna say are probably a one-time gains, because normally if you see earnings going up, you should see cash flow from operations also going up, but that wasn't the case here. So these earnings are going to be one-time extent. Unfortunately, let's take a look at their financial health. They have a nice amount of cash and short-term investments and no debt to their name. One thing I do like, they have $67 million in cash and short-term investments, and this is a market cap of $93.8 million. That alone is pretty cool. They do also have a nice amount of inventory. So fundamentally, in form of balance sheet, they look good. In form of how the company is making money right now, not so great, not super strong at the moment. So definitely a little more risk in it. This again would be another speculative play where if it was to be in my portfolio, David, it would be a super small position. but it has the possibility because of that strong balance sheet. Right now, general public owns most of it. Individual owns 5.6%. The CEO is the #1 shareholder, and they own 3.1%. Vanguard, a big investment bank, owns about 2.4%. So overall, not too bad. Something I definitely wouldn't make bigger than 1% in my portfolio if it was to ever enter my account. Nick Lee, this is only when I do quick research here, right? Nick Lee, unfortunately, I mean, this is more just a quick overview of the stock, right? From what did I find out from it really quick, Nick? I found out they had a very strong balance sheet. They had a nice amount of cash and short-term investments. But I did also find out that their earnings kind of took a huge gain in the most recent quarter. So this tells me, Jose, now when you look at the company, when we start doing heavy analysis on them, we have to find out why these earnings are getting better. So here, Simply Wall Street is pretty much just allows me to see a very top overview of what's happening. Then from there, I go on heavy analysis. Take a look at investors' presentation. Take a look at 10Q reports. Take a look at how their products are trending. Take a look at reviews from overall products. Who are their consumers? Who are their customers? So from there on, it leads to a lot more. Simply Wall Street is pretty much just that. It makes it. It gives me a simple view, and then I work my way from there. Obviously, for these streams, I can't do that whole process because it's usually a multi-hour process to look at a stock. So that would take ridiculous amount of time per stocks. So let's see, what else do we have? Biz, do you think Activision or Take-Two? I enjoy Activision a little bit more in forms of market-wise, in form of products. Blizzard is just killing it. Call of Duty is just killing it. Call of Duty Mobile is doing amazing. Kings with their mobile games is just doing amazing. Oh, yes, Nick Lee. So, unfortunately, I mean, this is mainly based on analysts and historical data. With SPACs, there's no information on there because there's no historical information. So, for SPACs, I tend to rely on investors' presentation. If you also go to the SEC website, Nick, there's also the S1 report that they will show when the merger or something is kind of announced. They still have to give you the S1 filing, which shows bigger in-depth of the company. So if you're looking at SPACs, definitely look at investors' presentation. But more importantly, I want to say take a look at the SEC website and look for the S1 filing. And this usually would be under the ticker, the SPAC ticker. So Nick, that would be how I would do it. So I do enjoy Activision in form of market wise, in form of where the prices are at right now. David Biz, I'm not too familiar with them. I have Activision in my account. I don't have Take-Two. No problem, Nick. Make sure to hit the thumbs up just to show support to the channel. So Lisa, I think you kind of mentioned APPN before Taba. I think so. So I'm gonna go with yours first, and then we'll take a look at Taba. So you want to take a look at APPN. That sounds somewhat familiar. APN. So this is a software. They provide low-code automation platform in the United States. This is actually pretty interesting. Might have to even do a little bit more research on this one later on. First, if we take a look at their market cap, $10.6 billion. So not a big company, not a small company either. Future growth, they are expected to grow 18.3%. Right, Lisa? So looking pretty strong in form of future growth. Unfortunately, they're not profitable right now, and they're not positive in cash flow from operations. This is normally something I'm not a fan of. If you're a software company, you usually have positive cash flow from operations. So this is definitely something I have to remember. The risk is a lot higher because they're not profitable. They're not positive in cash flow from operations. I want them to have a very strong financial health. Financially, they do, right? $232 million in cash and short-term investments and no debt to their name. So they're looking pretty good, especially if, how much were they burning? Let's see, how much cash flow were they burning? They're only burning about, let's do free cash flow. They're only burning about $8 million a year. $8 million a year is almost nothing compared to that $200 million that they had in cash. So this is a company that will be able to continue its business for a long time. If we take a look at ownership right now, individual insiders, wow, this is pretty bullish. Lisa, 43.2 by individual insiders for a company that's worth over 10 billion. Pretty impressive. Matthew Calkins, who is the CEO and the founder, owns 38% of the business. That is amazing. Really amazing. Definitely a bullish sign. For sure. Let's take a quick look. I do believe the overall software market is a bit overvalued right now. Some of them were a bit overextended, like Adobe. I think Autodesk were some of the overextended. APPN, it seems a bit extended. I wouldn't say it's crazily overextended from its moving averages, but it definitely has seen nicer pullback. Not overextended, but there is a risk that it could pull down. We are seeing today is in the past 3 days it has been red, kind of giving investors a little bit more opportunity. If it was to ever enter in my portfolio, Lisa, it would either be a tier 3 stock. It could have a potential of being a low tier 2, so a little bit bigger than tier 3. I don't think it could go to a full tier 2 position size, and I don't think it can go to a full tier 1. Especially since I don't know the market right now. Just based on fundamentals, if I did like the product, if I did like the market, I could see potential in this company for sure. And right now, it's definitely seen quite a pull down from the stock. Obviously, there has been better buying opportunities. And Julie, all right, let's take a quick look at C. I know there's not much update on it, so I know it'll be a quick one. See, overextended it from a stock price. I do want to say, what's going on, Rice, Michael Rice, Dr. Michael Rice. Glad to see you out here again. Appreciate the support, and we'll take a look at. I think someone else mentioned TTCF, so we can knock out two birds with one stone. Not saying you guys are birds, and not saying I'm a stone, but we'll take a look at Tattoo Chef next. So we can see definitely a bit overextended right now from its moving averages. So I do believe it could see a bit of a pullback. It has a bit of a risk. Regardless, C is one of my top 4 positions in my portfolio right now. And even if there is the risk of a pullback, it doesn't worry me at all. I'm not planning on selling, not planning on buying. I do want to say this moving average right here is probably a good buying indication for C, right? If it ever reaches here, back then I would say it would be like the 200 price target around there, but I think now we'll be closer to this moving average. So C, big position in my portfolio. I'm not adding into it. If I was planning to add to it right now, it would be very small position. So let's see, what else do we have here? Julie, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate the support. It means a lot. Julie, that's helpful. Now we have U and Q. We'll be showing the overall badge. Appreciate for the support, Julie. It does mean a lot. All right, Dr. Michael Rice and who was it? Mutaba. Let's take a look at TTCF, Tattoo Chef. So first, Tattoo today, right? It's had a great day. We kind of saw earlier today, it started the day almost 3-4% up. Now it's up at 1.33%, still doing pretty good. I do believe yesterday some of the big YouTubers, I think Millennial Money mentioned 7 stocks they're still buying. They did a group thing yesterday. I kind of just did. Unfortunately, I don't watch much of YouTube, but I wanted to see the comments that they were reading, and I think Tattoo Chef was one of them. That might have excited a lot of investors. That kind of got this a bit excited this morning. There has been a lot of news as well on that unofficial news that they are kind of entering new markets. At the moment, nothing has been set to stone. But first, Tattoo Chef. If you guys just watched my recent video, and obviously I did it before Millennial Money, on Saturday I released the 4 stocks that I'm planning on buying this week. Tattoo Chef, I think was one in that list. Let me just make sure it was, and I'm not just talking out of my behind. So let's see. So if you go to your channel, my weekly stock picks, where I pretty much just talk about the stocks I'm gonna buy this week. I did The first is Activision. So I talk about Activision. I talk about Pinduoduo, Tattoo Chef, and Mercado Libre. So yes, obviously I did it before Millennial Money did it today. So it definitely, Tattoo Chef is one I'm excited about for sure. One I want to increase exposure onto it. Right now, a bit overextended. I am liking that it's kind of pulling back down. It was looking a little bit heavier here. Not looking too bad right now. But if we take a look at fundamentals, right? Tattoo Chef, future growth expected to grow dramatically, 33.6% on average. They are profitable in earnings. They're not positive in cash flow from operations. They kind of talked about this right now, and this earnings, most of this earnings were a one-time gain. They took a big gain recently in these past, I think it was December quarter. So the earnings might start to dip when taking a look at GAAP earnings. That's why sometimes, guys, it's important to look at non-GAAP earnings, because it kind of takes off those one-time gains and expenses. It really shows you that trend. But Tattoo Chef expanding with the new acquisition of the New Mexico food. Hopefully they're expanding into new stores. I can't wait to look at their earnings. Tattoo Chef is one I'm happy to own. They are, I want to say, in form of position wise, they're a tier 3 stock in my portfolio, but I could see them becoming more of like a low tier 2 stock. So I really enjoy Tattoo Chef right now. And like I did do a video a few days ago, and Tattoo Chef was on that list. So is there anything specific, Michael, you wanted to, or Taba, that you guys wanted to take a look? Mushtaba, that you guys wanted to take a look at Tattoo Chef, or just my overall thoughts right now? And support this whole appreciate Julie. If anything, definitely a thumbs up helps the channel a lot, and just comments, guys. If you can't become a supporter of the channel, if you can't support financially, if you guys ever see a video out, if you guys could just click it, hit a thumbs up, hit a comment, just post something on the comment. That helps me as a content creator so much, and it would mean so much if you guys can definitely do that. If there's one way you guys want to support, a comment in every video, it means so much appreciation. And it also helps me remember you guys. And that's how I know Julie, right? That's how I know that's how I know Michael, David Becker, Lisa, Nick, a lot of you guys, right? A lot of you guys I know, because you guys are constantly posting on comments, constantly on these streams, being active, and that helps a lot. So Nick Lee, when you have time, take a look at APST. So let's see, APXT. Nick, I've done a few videos on APXT earlier on when they had just recently become a SPAC. I don't think much has changed from there. Oh, David, yeah, Discord too. Put that out there. Let me just give you guys the Discord channel so you guys can join. To Discord group. Smart man, David Becker. And let me actually pin that. I should actually do that in every stream. Pin that Discord channel. All right, so let's see, what else do we have here. So Julie, you mentioned Huya. Huya is one I am bullish on. Last year was a tier 1 stock. Unfortunately, the price hasn't done much. Emerging markets, mainly in the China market, are not doing so well. So Huya has been definitely taking a hit. Overall, the esports market, the live streaming market, is one I'm bullish on. Huya last year became a good portion of my portfolio. So that's why this year I haven't really added much to it. But now as my portfolio is growing, Huya is shrinking, I might add that to my list upcoming. Tencent. Tencent saw this as a large position. Thoughts on it's currently seeing a pullback. Tencent, Michael, is definitely a good portion of my portfolio too. It's probably in my top 15. I enjoy Tencent. If I want to get exposure in gaming and kind of esports and emerging markets, right, Dr. Michael Rice, and not wanting to do an individual company like Huya, Tencent would be my biggest case. If I was to ever get out of emerging markets and, like, let's say sell out of Huya and other gaming stocks, I would probably just put that money in Tencent, because they just have such a huge catalog of games, of companies that they own, and also digital e-commerce, their overall digital e-commerce platform. I think Tencent made my list. I know it was either Was Tencent here? No, I think Tencent was on my buys recently. I forgot when it was, but I know one of these, in the past 4 videos, I definitely talked about Tencent. Tencent is your Nvidia of the gaming world. Yes, that is pretty much it. Tencent is exactly what Nvidia, I believe, is one that's gonna just revolutionize the world with AI, machine learning, and all that. Tencent, I think, will really be a winner in the gaming world, for sure. So that's actually a good way to put it. Unfortunately, at the same time, it is a bit exposed to China market. I feel like if it was an American company, for sure, Dr. Michael, it would be a way bigger position. I just understand that Chinese market and emerging markets kind of have some risk. If it was a United States based company, and that might just be my bias since I am an American, right? But if it was, I do believe it would be a bigger position in my portfolio, for sure. So let's see. Did I miss? I think I did one for everybody here. So I did one for Taba. I took a look at TTCF. I definitely did a few for Juby. I did one for Lisa. I did a few for David. Let's see. I might do one more. I might do a few more. So Najarro, you wanted to take a quick look at Futu. Futu is this. I forget what Futu does. Are they the fintech company? They're like the Robinhood of China. I believe so, right? They are limited operation. Adam, hi Jose. Any thoughts on GON? Share price hasn't done much, but last earnings were very good. Thanks for the content, Adam. We'll take a look at that one for sure. So Futu right now, super small market, not super small, medium-sized market cap, $26.3 billion. What's going on, Chris? Can you take a look at True Leaf Cannabis? We'll definitely take a quick look at that one too. So let's try to power through these, right? Let's try to power through these. So let's start off with Futu. Let's start off with technicals of Futu. Futu right now, it is a bit overextended, so I want to say there is a higher risk of the stock price pulling down. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but there is a higher risk. In forms of market cap, $26.3 billion, not that small, not that big. They are expected to grow 26.3% on average, so strong revenue growth. Like I mentioned, I believe they are like the Robinhood of China, so investors are pretty excited. If we take a look at earnings, they're super profitable in earnings. Their cash flow from operations, there's not much data for March, but if we take a look at December of 2020, they were profitable in cash flow from operations as well. So they make good money, right? They definitely do make good money. If we take a look at their financial health, they have about $24 billion in debt. And cash and short-term investments are pretty low. I wonder if maybe like some of their financial offerings are considered debt. So that's something it is weird with financial services. Sometimes some of their whatever loans they might give out might be considered debt. That's why their balance sheet doesn't look good. If we take a look at ownership, who owns it? Right now, Hua Li, which is the CEO and founder, owns 35%. Tencent, like I mentioned, one of my favorite companies right now, owns 21%. So I personally, right, this is not a market I would enjoy too much. But overall, the emerging market companies and international companies are, I want to say, seeing a bit undervalued. Futu a bit overextended, biggest risk, and because it is an international company, bigger risk. Something like this would not be a big position in my portfolio, even though fundamentals don't look too bad and the overall ownership is pretty good, right? Who the CEO and Tencent own more than half of the business. And I'm pretty sure Tencent has a lot of leverage on this person. And if Tencent needs something done, they will most likely work with them. So now let's take a quick look at which one was it? Which one was next? Adam, you want to take a look at GAN, GAN, right? GAN right now, not overextended at all. It's definitely seeing a crazy pull up, pull down, sitting at $16.91. Huge support here at the $15.39. Very volatile, right? I do see it doesn't seem overextended, so the risk of it seeing more of a pull down, I believe, is a little bit lower than if it was overextended. If we take a look at fundamentals for GAN, let's see what they do. So they operate as a business-to-business supplier of internet gambling software as a service solutions to online casinos, gamings, and online sports betting applications. This is definitely a market I can see growing. This is actually pretty interesting. I wouldn't mind doing more information on GAN, but the product, it seems the product that they're hitting, I can definitely see this market growing. iGamification is growing, online betting is growing. So pretty cool. Market cap, $716 million in market cap. So it's a small company. It's probably going to be very, very volatile. They are not profitable in earnings and they're not positive in cash flow from operations because they are a small company already. This would kind of put me already in a tier 3 if it was to ever enter my portfolio. Small position size, but remember, even a small percentage can grow. Based on the fundamentals for it, Adam, what's it, Adam? Yeah. I want this to have a very strong balance sheet. Then they do. They have $52 million in cash and no debt to their name. Now I want to take a quick look at ownership. Institutions own 51%, individuals own 5%, general public owns 43%. The CEO and president owns 4.4% of the business. Overall, GAN, just a quick overview. Technicals don't look too bad in form of if it's overextended. Fundamentals look pretty good. I like it. They're not profitable or positive in cash flow from operations, but they do have a very strong balance sheet. Regardless, that means if it was to enter my portfolio, it would be a small position because it's still in early stages. It's very early stages in its business, Adam. And again, not advice, it's just how I would play it, and my investment style might be different from you. Next, let's take a look at Chris. Chris wants to look at TCNNF. TCNNF. We see another Canadian. Cannabis company. Is there something special about Canada and cannabis besides that they both start with CAN? I see a lot of these cannabis companies go in Canada. Is it just that legal actions are less? Is it just more popular there? Again, I don't follow this market, but I know Q just gave us a cannabis company. It was also Canadian based. But we can see market cap $5.4 billion. Future growth expected to grow 21% on average for the next 2 to 5 years. Strong fundamentals. They are profitable in earnings. They are positive in cash flow from operations. So Chris, this one looks pretty strong in fundamentals. If we take a look at their balance sheet, they have $162 million in cash, $222 million in debt. So they are a bit leveraged in debt, but not the worst thing since they are profitable and positive in cash flow from operations. I would have wished they had a stronger balance sheet. Regardless, not the bad because of how we saw their fundamentals. If we take a quick look at ownership, right, individuals own 32%. That's pretty bullish. Kimberly Rivers is the CEO and president and CEO, owns 15% of business. Dad, who is a member of the board and independent director, also owns about 13% of the business. So strong ownership from individual insiders. That's pretty cool. Now let's just jump into the overall technicals. Technicals not overextended. I do believe the cannabis business, if we take a look at MJ, I believe, first, not overextended, sitting at great volumes. I want to say if I was bullish in this market, if I really liked what this product offered, obviously we didn't look at the actual products. We just know the markets and their fundamentals. But if I was bullish in the cannabis market and I liked what TrueLift does, right now in form of where they're at price-wise, doesn't look half bad. If we take a look at MJ, right, MJ I believe is an ETF on cannabis. This market has definitely seen quite a pull down, and I do believe it's a good portion of the risk has been eliminated. Obviously, stocks can continue to go down, but good portion has been eliminated. Let's see what else. Jose, Sentinel-1 debuts today. Jose, can you tell me what they do? You think you might jump in? I don't, because I haven't really looked at them. Nick Lee, Tencent, I invest in Hong Kong stock market, not in NASDAQ. It's the first position in portfolio in cost perspective, not value though. Nick, nice. All right, so invest in Hong Kong stock market. Nick, appreciate the support. Are you in the other side of the world, or are you just investing in Hong Kong stock market, even though you're in this side? Julie, there is a lot of fear and some fear. I forget what FUD. Something fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I forget. Is that right? Going on about the stock market crashing. Might be a good time to have extra cash in hand to buy the dip. Michael Burry says is saying so at least. Agree. I do believe to some extent. I do believe to some extent there's always a risk of a pullback. That's why for me, even though my portfolio is fully invested, I do have cash at hands. And the way my savings work, right? I think everybody should definitely have some form of savings plan. Every time we get a paycheck, some of it go to the stock market, some of it go to bank account, some of it go to other investment styles. If we ever see a very big dip, those 3 different investment accounts or distributions become one. So instead of putting money into the bank, instead of putting money into other investments, everything we had for those other markets, we put directly into investments. So we increase our ability to go harder on the market, and it also gives us the ability to kind of pull out cash from other accounts and to increase that market. So even though my portfolio is fully cash, I personally do have money set aside or ways to increase my overall increments in the stock market. And that's how I always do it, and I plan to do it. So nice one, Adam. Thanks for your help. No problem. ACG, come to Scotland. All right, I'm definitely planning trips. We'll see where we go. Definitely sounds like a fun place to definitely head out to. Want to travel the world, right? That would be amazing. Making YouTube videos traveling the world. What sounds better than that? Talking about stocks. Expertly. Okay, bro, can you look at pins? Did you like the video? If you liked the video, I will. If you didn't, I'm not. Just kidding. We'll take a look at pins. So pins right now, I want to say, right, technicals, quick look. I want to say it's a bit overextended. That doesn't mean the stock price can't continue to go up. I just believe the overall risk of it going down is a little bit higher. If we take a look, again, I've done a few videos expertly on pins. So definitely if you go to YouTube, just put Najarro pins. And let's see, when would be my most recent video? This one here, I talked about it about a month ago. I don't think fundamentally much has changed. Jose, it was a cybersecurity. Definitely one I have to look a little bit closer into. But first, I definitely want to say, it is a bit overextended. That doesn't mean the stock price is going to go down. But normally, when it is a bit overextended, the chance of a pull down is a little bit higher. I think that might be the case. But I know Pinterest has recently mentioned a few acquisitions that they're doing. So they're growing, they're really expanding the products. Whoops, is that Pinterest or Etsy? One of the two. But actually, rewind on that information. Pinterest definitely overextended. If we take a look at fundamentals, right? Let's take a look. Valuation, I mean, right now the company, market cap $50.2 billion, right? So it's definitely not a small company, not a big company either though. Future growth, expected to grow 26.4% on average for the next 3 to 5 years. I do like the future growth. They are about to be profitable in GAAP earnings. I think they are profitable in non-GAAP earnings, and they are positive in cash flow from operations. So fundamentally, they are looking pretty good. If we take a look at their financial health, they have $2 billion in cash, no debt to their name. Fundamentally, they're looking at a great price, great fundamentally. If we take a look at ownership, institutions own 16%, general public owns about 20%, individual own about 13%. Benjamin Silberman, which is the CEO, owns about 6.3% of the business. The overall market, right, discovery engine for Pinterest has definitely seen gains due to COVID situation. A good reason for recent pull downs from its all-time highs are people wondering how they're going to keep those users now that people are going back to work and less working from home. Regardless, I think it's just important to keep a track of that. I did look at their most recent earnings, so I definitely suggest watching that video XP. I want to say the biggest risk in form of technicals and fundamentals right now is the stock is a bit overextended, right? Definitely a bit overextended. Regardless, I know a lot of investors are bullish on Pinterest. And again, this doesn't mean the stock price will go down, but it does have a higher risk. So guys, that's it for today's episode. I am going to go and record some videos to do for the day. So guys, appreciate the support. Julie, again, thank you so much for the support and becoming a member. Everybody who liked the video, appreciate it as well. I will be live streaming again tomorrow around same time, 10 o'clock Eastern time. But tomorrow I will be closing it out early, around 10:45, just because I have I have a clubhouse event at 11. So guys, take care, have a good night, and make sure to watch the video, guys. Peace out. And Xperia, thank you for the subscription.